The sun was bleeding red across the Oklahoma horizon, painting the endless wheat fields in hues of fire. In the middle of it all stood Ellie Mae Harper, a 24-year-old farm girl, her silhouette broad and unyielding against the dusk. She gripped a pitchfork, her knuckles white, as three pickup trucks roared up the dirt road to her family's land. Their headlights cut through the twilight, and the men inside were laughing, loud, cruel, and drunk on their own power. They didn't know who they were messing with. They didn't know Ellie Mae was trained by a green Beret sniper, and they were about to find out. Hey, if you're new here, hit that subscribe button. It's free, and it means you won't miss stories like this one, where the underdog flips the script in ways you'll never see coming. Ellie Mae's life wasn't supposed to be like this. Growing up on Harper Farm, a sprawling 200 acres of wheat and cattle in Cimarron County, she was the kid who always carried a little extra weight, the one the town kids called Big Ellie, behind her back. Her daddy, Amos Harper, was a third-generation farmer, a man of few words but endless pride in his land. Her mama, Clara, baked pies that could make a grown man cry and taught Ellie Mae how to stitch a wound or set a bone before she was 12. They were a family carved from the dirt itself, resilient, quiet, and fiercely protective of their own. But when Ellie Mae was 15, everything changed. Amos got sick. Cancer, the kind that doesn't negotiate. By 16, Ellie Mae was running the farm alone, her mama too broken by grief to help. The townsfolk whispered she'd fail. A fat girl couldn't keep a farm alive. They were wrong, but their words cut deeper than any blade. The trucks stopped 100 yards from Ellie Mae, their engines growling like predators. 6 men spilled out, their boots kicking up dust. They were led by Travis Boone, a wary, mean-eyed man in his 30s who owned half the county's oil leases and thought he owned the people too. Travis had been after Harper Farm for years, ever since Amos turned down his offer to buy the land for pennies. Now, with Amos gone and Ellie Mae alone, Travis saw his chance. He'd been harassing her for months, slashed tires, poisoned cattle, anonymous threats scrawled on her barn. Tonight, though, he was bolder. He'd brought his crew, and they were here to make a point. "Hey, Big Ellie!" Travis shouted, his voice dripping with venom. "Time's up. You're done playing farmer. Sign the deed, or we burn this place to the ground." Ellie Mae stood still, her face unreadable. She didn't flinch. She didn't run. She just tightened her grip on the pitchfork. Flash back to 6 years ago, when Ellie Mae was 18 and the farm was barely holding together. She was drowning in debt, her mama's medical bills piling up faster than the wheat could grow. That's when Uncle Ray showed up. Ray Harper, Amos's older brother, wasn't like the rest of the family. He wasn't a farmer. He was a ghost, a Green Beret sniper who'd spent 20 years in shadows, Afghanistan, Iraq, places he never talked about. When he came home to Cimarron County, he didn't look like a hero. He was lean, weathered, with eyes that saw through people like glass. Ray saw Ellie Mae struggling, saw the town chewing her up, and decided she wasn't going to break. "You're a Harper," he told her one night under the stars. "This land is yours. Fight for it." And so he trained her, not just to shoot, but to think like a soldier, to move silent as a deer, to read the wind, the terrain, the enemy. He taught her how to use a rifle like it was part of her body, how to disappear into the landscape, how to turn fear into fuel. By the time Ray left a year later, Ellie Mae wasn't just a farm girl, she was a weapon. Back in the present, Travis and his men spread out, their shadows long and menacing. One of them, a hulking brute named Cole, held a Molotov cocktail, the rag stuffed in the bottle glowing faintly from the lighter in his hand. "Last chance, Ellie?" Travis sneered. "Sell, or we light it up." The air was thick with tension, the kind that makes your chest tighten. Ellie Mae's eyes flicked to the barn behind her, where her mama was sleeping inside, unaware of the danger. She could smell the gasoline in the air, hear the faint crackle of the lighter. Her heart pounded, but her mind was calm, calculating. Ray's voice echoed in her head, "Control the battlefield. Make them come to you." She lowered the pitchfork, letting it rest against the ground, and raised her hands as if in surrender. "All right, Travis," she said, her voice soft but steady. "You win. Let's talk." The men laughed, their confidence swelling. They thought they'd broken her. They didn't see the trap. Ellie Mae stepped back, leading them toward the open field behind the farmhouse. It was her land, every inch of it mapped in her mind. The dips in the earth, the old irrigation ditch, the rusted tractor that could shield her from gunfire. She'd spent years preparing for a moment like this, even if she hadn't known it was coming. Travis followed, his men fanning out, their arrogance blinding them. "Smart girl," Travis said, pulling a contract from his jacket. "Sign this, and we'll let you walk away." Ellie Mae stopped near the edge of the field, the wheat swaying around her like a golden sea. She looked at him, her eyes cold as steel. "You shouldn't have come here, Travis," she said quietly. Before he could respond, she dropped to the ground, rolling into the ditch as the world exploded into chaos. From the barn's hayloft 200 yards away, Ellie Mae's rifle was already in position. She'd set it up that morning, sensing trouble was brewing. Ray had taught her to always have a plan, and hers was simple: neutralize the threat without bloodshed, if possible. She'd rigged the field with distractions, firecrackers buried in the dirt, wired to a remote trigger. When she hit the button, they went off like gunshots, popping and cracking in every direction. Travis's men panicked, their bravado crumbling as they ducked and shouted, thinking they were under attack. Cole dropped the Molotov, the bottle shattering harmlessly in the dirt. Ellie Mae moved fast, crawling through the ditch to a second position she'd prepared. A low rise with a clear line of sight. From there, she could see Travis spinning, his eyes wild, screaming at his men to find her. The next few minutes were a masterclass in control. Ellie Mae didn't fire a single shot. She didn't need to. Using the skills Ray had drilled into her, she turned the field into her weapon. She triggered more firecrackers, this time closer to the trucks, making the men think they were surrounded. She used a slingshot, another of Ray's tricks, to lob rocks into the wheat, creating rustles that sent the men scrambling in the wrong direction. One by one, they tripped over her traps, a hidden wire that sent Cole sprawling into the mud, a shallow pit that twisted another man's ankle. Travis was screaming now, his voice cracking with rage and fear. "Where is she?" he bellowed, firing his pistol blindly into the wheat. But Ellie Mae was a ghost, moving silently, her breath steady, her mind locked on the mission. Then came the twist no one saw coming. As Travis's men stumbled in the chaos, a new sound cut through the night, the low rumble of another engine. Headlights appeared on the horizon, and a battered Jeep rolled into view. It was Uncle Ray. He'd been in town, hearing whispers of Travis's plan, and he wasn't about to let his niece face it alone. Ray stepped out, his presence like a storm cloud, his sniper rifle slung over his shoulder. The sight of him stopped Travis cold. "You picked the wrong fight, Boone," Ray said, his voice low and deadly. The men froze, their bravado gone. They knew Ray's reputation, even if they didn't know the half of it. Ellie Mae emerged from the wheat, her own rifle now in hand, her face calm but fierce. "This is my land," she said. "Get off it now." Travis tried to bluff, but his voice shook. "You can't stop progress, Harper. This land's worth millions, and you're nothing but Ray cut him off, stepping closer, his eyes like ice. "You're not alone," Ray said, his eyes locked on Travis. "You're surrounded, and we've got the high ground." Drop the gun. Travis's pistol hit the dirt, followed by the others. His men, battered and terrified, scrambled back to their trucks, leaving the contract crumpled in the dust. As they peeled out, Ellie Mae and Ray stood side by side, watching the taillights disappear. The farm was safe for now, but the fight wasn't over. Travis would be back, and Ellie Mae knew it. She turned to Ray, her eyes shining with gratitude and resolve. "I'm ready for whatever comes next," she said. Ray nodded, a rare smile breaking through. "That's my girl." The next day, word spread through Cimarron County like wildfire. Big Ellie wasn't just a farm girl. She was a force. The townsfolk who'd mocked her started whispering her name with respect. She didn't care. She wasn't fighting for their approval. She was fighting for her land, her family, her legacy. Clara, her mama, hugged her tight that morning, tears in her eyes. "Your daddy would be proud," she whispered. Ellie Mae just nodded, her throat too tight to speak. She'd done what she had to do, and she'd do it again. The land was hers. The fight was hers, and she was ready. That night, Ellie Mae sat alone on the edge of her daddy's old oak chair, the one he'd carved with his own hands, its wood worn smooth by years of his calloused fingers. The farmhouse was quiet, save for the creak of the floorboards and the distant hum of cicadas outside. She held a photograph, its edges frayed, showing her at 10 years old, standing between Amos and Clara in the wheat field, all three of them laughing under a sky so blue it hurt to look at. The weight of the night's victory settled over her, but it wasn't joy she felt. It was something heavier, something that burned in her chest like a coal. She defended her land, outsmarted Travis, and sent his men running, but the cost of being Big Ellie, of carrying the Harper name alone, pressed down on her. She thought of Ray's training, the endless hours in the field, learning to breathe through fear, to aim true, to trust no one but herself. She thought of the town's whispers, the years of being less than in their eyes, and how she'd turned their scorn into her strength. But now in the stillness, she wondered what next. Travis wasn't the type to quit, and his money ran deeper than her roots. She traced her finger over her daddy's face in the photo, his grin wide and fearless, and felt a tear slip down her cheek. "I'm trying, Daddy," she whispered, her voice breaking. She wasn't just fighting for the farm, she was fighting for him, for Mama, for every Harper who'd blood into this soil. Ray had taught her to survive, but this moment, alone with her ghosts, taught her something else. Courage wasn't just about winning. It was about standing up again and again, no matter how many times the world tried to knock you down. She set the photo on the table, stood and walked to the window, staring out at the wheat fields bathed in moonlight. They glowed like a promise, unbroken in hers. She'd face Travis again, and whoever else came for her land. She'd face the bank, the drought, the whispers. Because she was Ellie Mae Harper, and this was her home. The rifle leaned against the wall, a silent partner, and she knew she'd pick it up again if she had to. But for now, she let herself feel the ache, the pride, the fear, and the fire that made her who she was. She wasn't Big Ellie anymore. She was something more, a woman forged by loss, trained by a warrior, and bound to the land that would carry her name long after she was gone. As the sun set once more over Harper Farm, Ellie Mae stood on the porch, her rifle resting against the wall. The wheat swayed in the breeze, golden and unbroken, just like her. She wasn't Big Ellie anymore. She was Ellie Mae Harper, defender of her home, trained by a green Beret sniper and nobody's victim. The camera pans out, the sky ablaze with color, her silhouette strong against the horizon. This was her story, and it was only the beginning. Hey y'all, what did you think of Ellie Mae's stand? From which part of the country are you watching this video? Drop it in the comments. I'd love to know.